music.
No.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Get in dress code. Make sure your shirt's tucked in. You look good. Please make sure you don't bump that.
Yeah, I got it.
If drill back, if you get up at all, go that way.
Yeah.
If you get up at all, go that way.
Oh. I think so. When they're going through the
Jude, you're in the
intro.
video.
Going through the, yeah, I think it is.
Can we go over some stuff like?
No, we're not gonna go over any of the stuff. We're just gonna sit here and stare at the wall.
Oh, like, could I ask a specific question?
I think you just did.
Oh.
Go ahead, what?
No, like, okay. So, like, how do you? I can't tell the difference between like. I know that usted is when you're talking to someone older than you, and then ustedes is someone older than you in a group or something. It's
Okay.
just like plural, and then two is a friend, and then vastros is some other.
Okay, is there a question here?
Yeah. What's vastros?
Vosotros. What happened?
Oh, the screen was too bright, yeah.
Vostra.
I'm touching the screen.
So smart.
Just touch the screen.
Christian, what happened? You said we
What?
smart pills or something?
I know, honestly. How do I know?
Vosotros and vosotras. Vosotros is a group of guys. Vosotras is a group of girls in general.
Vosotras is girls?
But only in
Yeah.
Spain.
Only in Spain,
If
yeah.
they're from Latin America, they do use.
No, in Michigan.
We don't use.
Okay.
We use that in Spain.
Good.
Vosotras.
Vamos a decir Dios te salve María. Hay intenciones especiales.
Antendios necesidades.
Sí.
Andrew.
Oh,
Zoya.
Okay, iPad should have been away when I said buenos dias. Sí.
for us to have a good day today and pray for the people that are injured from playing sports, especially in Israel.
En el nombre del Padre,
En nombre del Padre,
y del Hijo,
y del Hijo,
y del Espíritu Santo.
y del Espíritu Santo.
Amén. Dios te salve María, llena eres de gracia. El Señor es contigo, bendita tú eres entre todas las mujeres, y bendito es el fruto de tu vientre Jesús. Santa María, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros pecadores, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte. Amén.
Amén.
En el nombre del Padre, y del Hijo, y del Espíritu Santo.
Espíritu Santo.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so the big news is that I pushed back the test. I probably could have made this decision earlier for you guys to know, and I'm sorry about that, but it actually went okay with your class, and so I thought we were okay. But later in the day, when I was going through the other classes, it was just too hectic, and I was not getting through enough of the material, especially to get you ready for this first test. You know, later in the year, as we do subsequent tests, and you know exactly what to expect and everything, I probably would have been okay to go ahead. But with this first test, I want to make sure everybody is as prepared as possible, so that there aren't any surprises and people do as well as possible. I also realized in talking about it with kids yesterday that I was a little worried about the time. Because the quiz that we give, a lot of people have trouble getting through those quizzes in the period, and those are 50 points, and this is more like 100 points. And in general, it means that there's 100 questions, you know? So I decided I better, at least this first time, break it up into 2 days. So that was another part of the reason that I didn't want to do it today, is I was figuring out, I think the listening section will go fairly quickly once we get into it, but I'm a little afraid of that combined with the written test, which is about as long as your quizzes, okay? So now if I break it up into 2 days, then we should be comfortable with this. I don't want people feeling rushed on the first test. So a couple things came into play. Later in the day, with trying to set up the iPad and get that going, it was, you know, the first day that I'm trying to do that, and it was not going well in certain periods, and took a while, and then we had some people that were gone, so I'm having to have them do quizzes out in the hall, like Ceci did, but Ceci's went pretty well because we have that time before class to get him set. The other classes, it was pushing back the time, we weren't getting through nearly as much. So I'm sorry if you prepared really well for today. The good news is that you know, you're now hopefully prepared, and so you just do a quick review tonight. And hopefully, we'll go over some stuff today that will help you even more to understand the material and answer questions like you were asking by going over the quiz more carefully. So, what do we, in this class, did we go through everything and like all the pages, and then we're on the time when the bell rang?
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Not sure?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, we did a few.
I'm wondering if I should pass back your quizzes again, do you
No,
think?
we did it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you know what, I am gonna pass back the quizzes, because one of the other things that happened with the earlier periods that I was better with later on, is that I got to the end of the period and I said, okay, pass them forward, and some people were taking notes on the quiz, and so, when I collected it, they lost those notes. So, I don't know, maybe I'm not describing anybody here, but I know that
That was
happened.
me.
And I felt bad about that, because I should have let you know I was gonna collect those quizzes back. So I'm gonna pass those out to you, and then if you had any notes that you wanted to take to study from, you can go ahead and do that. In the future, know that when I pass those out, I'm always gonna be having you turn them back in. So you're gonna wanna take notes on a separate piece of paper so that you can use that to study for the test. So I'm gonna pass those back out.
Stop.
Did you finish grading mine?
What?
Give me that cool.
Oh, I didn't, Ceci, sorry.
It's
Give me that cool right now.
I could have,
Drink
I
it one
just
second,
kinda
bro.
forgot
The
actually,
powder's
because I was deciding all this stuff, sorry.
It's alright.
Cash walking to this way?
No, he's not.
You're 7.
Are you?
Oh. See, Ryan does have Luna. That's why those two are absent, because they're in 6th
I
grade.
fell every single time. I was beating Max going into Monday night, then
Yes, you do, bro.
you go.
If he had it, I would be out too.
I'm not scared.
Corsica? Yeah, you were gone yesterday, so this is good for you. Then,
I got Lamar coming in. I got Lamar.
Wardonia?
Huh? I gave him Deshaun Watson.
Throwback?
For Lamar.
What is
He didn't
that?
have time to
Taransky? Michael?
One of those Middle East countries.
Yeah, because you know I'm gonna leave.
Letitia?
What's Tisha? Tisha's Mexican.
Turner?
I wouldn't be surprised if the entire song.
Turner, Holman, Papadelis,
Tisha.
Deshaun.
I thought your last name is Indian.
It's
Ahmad,
it's Middle East.
he's gone.
Not everybody thinks they
Roberson,
Wait, no, I like that.
Collins, and Rollins.
Where'd you guys? My mom and dad were talking about cheating yesterday. They were talking about like something that happened, and then he brought up.
All right.
I forgot what happened.
Great name.
Oh, before I do this, we gotta do attendance. We got a few people gone today, so.
Hey, here comes Sissy. know it's not just him coming.
I don't have the energy to get enough like that, so.
Okay,
Say it here.
Gabe's supposed to be gone, Champion's supposed to be gone. Ahmad, we don't have that yet.
Andre going through?
Yeah, he's supposed to be.
Miles said it.
He was already set up on there.
Exactly.
Boom room over here, everybody's here?
Okay, yeah, now we can
Okay, so I guess it's still three. Oh, and one.
Now with one hand.
Nah, thankfully.
Clicker?
That's one extra strong for what I looked at. I swear to God.
All right.
That's my. I'll probably take Xavier too, in one hand. This could be some serious.
No, I do.
You gotta get
My bad.
Oh, shoot. Am I right or am I right?
Anyway,
Shut up,
that's
letters.
Oh.
Jeez.
It's not a lot of choices you give us.
Can you bench
Should
me?
done literacy.
I can bench 160.
No, there's no way it's one of mine. I swear to God.
There's no way you can bench.
I swear to God, that's my friend. I did it 2 times. To max, no, to max out, you do one rep.
You have the authority.
Ryan, what's my max?
You also
Wait.
did better.
He was
For what?
there.
For what?
Benching. I swear to God, my life is 105.
You also knew all the numbers.
Huh?
You also knew all the numbers.
Bro, I messed up.
Okay,
Not able to bench.
so, let's, move through this again. Because the main thing that I wanna get done today is to, make sure that we go all the way through this quiz, cover all questions that people might have. I think in every class I got cut off in the time section, and that was the most important section for a lot of people, so, got an AV specialist back there, good job. All right, on this page, we went through everything on this, correct?
Yep.
Gorsica, you were gone yesterday, is there anything on the first page that you were unsure of?
Yeah, I got a lot wrong on that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me run through this real quickly. Doesn't hurt to review for everybody. Should have been, ¿Cómo estás, Ana? How are you, Anna? And then she would respond, I am very well. Estoy muy bien. Gracias. I'm very well, thanks. Hey should be tal, like what's up? And the person would say bien, muy bien, or mal, muy mal. Okay? How are you? I'm bad, very bad, or good, very good. Here should have been ¿Cómo estás, Raúl? How are you? And he said, I am well, estoy bien. Gracias, Luisa. Thank you, Luisa. Buenos días, señor Lopez. ¿Cómo está usted? A lot of people are putting estás there because of the usted. Usted is the formal, then you use the está form, okay? Estoy bien, gracias. Hasta, I accepted any of the expressions, hasta luego, hasta mañana, or hasta pronto. So, I am well, thanks. See you soon, see you later, or see you tomorrow. Hola, Pedro. Blank tal. Hi, Pedro. What's up? And he would say, mal, Javier, muy mal. But I also accepted hola here because they had hola, Pedro, so I thought some people might have thought, hi, Pedro, and then he says, hi, Javier. Very bad responding to the question. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? Yes?
When else would it be a stop?
When else would it be a stop? That's hard to talk about right now. Those of you who've had Spanish before, if you got as far as conjugating, está is the L, ella, and usted form. So that means when it's he, she, or you formal. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about right now, it doesn't matter. I'm just answering your question.
Yeah,
For the rest of you, all you need to know right now is that you use está for usted.
we did that last year, but I didn't know that, but yeah, I didn't come on stop.
Okay, yeah, all you needed to know you know, when I teach this class, I'm teaching as if people have not had Spanish at all, okay? And what I try to do is at times I'll respond to a question that I can tell the kids had Spanish before and just give them an answer, but don't get confused, everybody else. In your workbook, it was talking about the informal and formal. And so when it's the formal expression, use como está usted, you should know that. And if it's informal, como estás. We'll talk about later, when we get into conjugating, why exactly that is, but for right now, you just need to know that that's the case. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, this is, the section that, okay,
I'm writing notes.
are you?
Swear.
Okay. Okay, iPad away, just write notes on a piece of paper. Okay? This section we went over also, a quick review for you and for everybody else. And this is exactly what you were asking about. You can write notes, write them on a piece of paper. Enrique and Pedro, what was that one supposed to be? Everybody? Ustedes, because even though it's informal, is it in Spain? No, so there is no vosotros anywhere but Spain. So you would just use ustedes everywhere else but Spain. Just because, remember I said you gotta go the other way? Oh, okay, whatever, sit down now, please remember that, I don't want iPad to fall. Let's jump over to this side just so that people know exactly what I'm talking about. These are two friends not in Spain, you use ustedes. Two friends that are in Spain, then you would go to vosotros. Does that make sense? Okay, we went in order yesterday, but hopefully right now you can see directly the contrast. In Spain, if it's plural and you know them well, you would use vosotros. Everywhere else, ustedes, yes?
I know it wasn't an option, but what do you use vosotros?
No, because the directions, how would you address these people? You're talking to them. You would never say, I mean, sometimes you get some weird people, how are we today?
Yeah.
Okay? But in general, you're gonna be talking to you, right? So nosotros is a we that we'll talk about in the near future. Okay? All right, so then you got loose, singular, know her well, what do you use? Know her well. If you know her well, it's informal. Two, okay? It's like, something that might help you to get this straight is formal. If it's a formal dinner, you put on like a tux, you put on a very special outfit to go to a formal thing. When it's informal, you just show up however you want. So when you're calling someone by the first name in a first name basis, that's informal, and that's two. Make sense? First name, what do you use? Two. You're talking Raul, you're talking to Raul, so you would use two. Now this one, you're saying like Mr. Galdos, so you're showing respect, so you use usted. It's the singular usted. Down here you've got plural misters, so you use ustedes. And we already talked about this one being vosotros. This is a group of girls in Spain you're talking to, first name basis, so you use vosotras. Now, what they didn't have on this quiz, but you need to be aware of, if it was Senor and Senora Rodriguez in Spain, what would it be? Ustedes. Ustedes. Because if it's Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez, is that formal or informal? Formal. So if it's formal in Spain, it's ustedes, okay? You only use the vosotros and vosotras for the informal like these. Does that make sense?
Wait, so I don't get. So that would be also trust they're girls.
Yes,
So Vos Ochos is pretty much a plural version of two in Spain, though?
it is, exactly.
And then Philip, and then,
And then Senora Rodriguez would be what?
Usted.
Usted, not ood. Okay, you were asking a question. Did I answer it? You got more? You got it? Okay. Next page. This page, was all the culture stuff. I don't really wanna go through it again. Did you do bad in this section, Corsica? Corsica, did you reread and study the culture section for this quiz?
No.
Okay, so in general, that was the key to this. If you read and studied that culture section, so for tomorrow, now that the test is put off, look over both culture sections, by the way. Okay, remember there was a culture section in 1A and there was a culture section in 1B. This is the reason I put this off, actually. This kind of information, I want you to make sure you know it and that you actually use it, because you may think, okay, we went over this, I've got this down. Cool, you also have to have 1A down, don't forget that. In general, it's usually more important to know the second section, because with Spanish, it all builds, and so the second section is usually the tougher one. However, especially with the culture section, there will be a culture section on the test, and it could come from this culture section or the other, or both. Does that make sense? Okay, so, I don't wanna spend the time, because we did this yesterday with everybody. These other things, they're good for me to go over again anyways. This could be good, but in terms of time, you can look in your culture section, and you'll go, oh, I know I got that wrong. Oh, I know I got that wrong. Just make sure you study that for tomorrow. Make sense? Good. Next one. Wait. What happened there? It's screwing up again. There we go. Okay. We did not get all the way through this either, right? I think I skipped this.
We just looked at the top three.
Yeah. Okay, so let's, this is the other one. This is the other one that I had to shortchange for time. So, I think we got through like the first three. So let's go to number 4. 44, 55, 66, and then what should it be? Good, say 77. Because the pattern they had was 44, 55, 66. So then you need 77. Say 77. Yes,
I do one of them, like 26,
sure.
so they can know that I know it.
Okay, good. Let's try number 5 first.
So,
12, 24, and then 48. So what number is this one?
12,
Good. What's this?
24,
Good. What's this one?
that is 44, 48.
48.
The
So,
pattern is 16.
the pattern is 16?
18.
No, the pattern is that it's going to be
Oh, 12. I swear I thought that was. Bro,
What did you
guys,
do?
I swear.
12, 24, so then what's the next one need to be?
24.
No, 12, 24, something, then 48.
Oh, 12. Not 12, so 36.
Good.
You sure?
In Spanish.
36. What was that now?
Good. 36, 36. Okay? A good thing to put down in your notes, a good thing that you can put down in your notes are the correct spellings of things that you misspelled on the quiz. Okay? Next one, 25, 25, 50. Sorry, I'm not writing real well. 75, 75. So what's the next one gonna be? 100.
Good
CN.
job, Nico Sassi.
Good. This one, 42, 42, blank, 56, 56, 63,
73.
49.
63.
Oh.
66,
That's so confusing.
not that confusing, because you take, once you know your original numbers down, 6, 60, actually there's some of the easier. 7, 7, 70, 70. All right, so 42 something, 56, 63. What are they doing here?
Go up by 7.
49, so they're doing the 7, 7 times 6, 42, 7 times 8, 56, 7 times
So 49.
9, is that what I'm at? Yeah, 7 times 9, 63.
Orenta y
So-
9.
Good, 49 is what needs to be here. So it's going to be 49,
Go.
okay? 63, 63, 72, 72. Blank in the 90 is 90. What are they going by here? 9. So this one's gonna be
You know what?
by 9. Does that make sense?
Water bottle.
Okay? 56, 56. Then you got 72, 72, 80, 80, 88. 88. What do we need to put in there? 64, is it 8? Yeah, they're going by 8. 64, which is gonna be? 64, then number 10. 60, 70, blank, 90. What's gonna be here? 80. Get it? Okay? Okay, for this one, guys, quiet please. Everybody else, please.
Oh, these are the ones I'm gonna.
Okay, for these, anybody know what numbers we did?
I think 1 through 4, all the way to, I think we did 1, 7, 4.
7? So you think we did all of this side?
Yeah, we did.
No, we didn't, we went side to
No, we
side.
don't.
No, yeah, we went side to side.
That's what I thought. I thought we were running low on time.
Yeah, we're on 4 and 10.
I thought we were running low on time, so I did like this.
We're on 4 and 10.
4 and 10?
Oh, yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
remember,
I'm
he said it was
crazy
like
at times.
2:30,
2:30.
No, yeah, we went
2:30.
side to side.
Because then I tried to do 20.
We're on.
So is this where I'm at?
Yeah.
Okay,
I remember.
thank you. Thank you. All right,
You're like, oh, thank
then, you were not good yesterday. You got better now?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, let's go. Number 4. Come on.
Four? This
Thumbs
is
up.
easy.
Numero 4. What is it?
Son las 2:30.
Oh.
What?
Good try, Eddie. Good try that.
Okay.
This guy just said 10 times.
Yes.
It's 8.
Yes?
That's not right.
Okay. Stop and listen.
Oh.
Okay. It is not wrong exactly, but I said for this chapter, I want you using the expressions.
Yeah,
So-
sorry.
No.
What?
That's afternoon.
What did you say? Oh, de la tarde, okay.
Doesn't even show
Um,
here.
No, what you wanna say is like 2:30. 2:30.
Oh, my bad.
So it's son las dos.
Son las tres.
No. Okay, stop. Son las, it's 2:30, so it's half hour past. So you use the expression, stop talking and listen. So it's like saying 2.5. 2.5. That's son las dos y media. Okay?
I feel like it's right.
Media means half or mid. That's why we say medianoche, midnight. Mediodía, midday. Okay? Okay, good. How about 11:50? Someone want to take that one? Good, thank you. Go Taransky.
Son las 12 menos 10.
Son las 12 menos 10. Remember what I talked about yesterday? If you're struggling with time at all, do what I said. Take it in English first. So it's 11:50, that's what it is in English, correct. But you could also say it's 10 to 12, or you would say it is 12 minus 10. Then you go, it is 12 minus 10. Question?
Oh, no, I wouldn't do next one.
Oh, okay. Is that what the hands are for?
I know, actually.
Do you have a question?
Did you say like media note or media dia?
No, good question, and I meant to talk about it. This is another reason I wanted today to review this. Because I understand why you think that. However, in general, you use the expression noon or midnight on the exact hour, okay? You say it's noon, it's midnight. You don't say it's noon and 15 minutes. You know what I mean? You would say 12:15 at that point. Does that make sense? So only use mediodía and medianoche when it is dead on that time, midnight or noon. That makes sense?
What if it doesn't say the times? GMRM.
Okay, then you couldn't put mediodía or medianoche because you don't know. Okay? All right, Bowman, 10:40. First of all, do what I said. Turn it to the English first before you put the Spanish. 11 minus 20. It is 11 minus 20. So how do you say it is 11?
Oh, okay. So that's also gonna.
Oh, slow down.
Son las 11, and then you say minus,
Menos.
oh yeah, did you say 10? You,
Wake up.
okay, I don't know. I thought maybe you misspoke and said minus 10, and then you said my bad, but you were talking about something else, okay. So, it is 11 minus 20. Get it? Yeah,
Can I do the next one?
sure. Any questions?
I have that one.
Gorska, you had that one? What do you mean?
Oh, no, I thought you
Okay. Ceci, 623.
Son las 6 y 23.
Son las 6 y 23. Excellent. Good. These are the last two. How do you say 3:30? Let's go with you. Keep your head up, please. How do you say it's 3:30? Good. You say it is 3 and a half. It is 3 and a half. So let's Tracy made it.
Christian, you got this one.
I got this one.
Go ahead, Christian. 5:18.
Son las 5 y 18.
Excellent.
What a guy.
We actually got one right for one.
Hey, Wyatt.
For 1,000.
Okay, I don't want to hear that in class. However, I will say you kind of earned that because I mean, don't say it ever. What I'm getting at is, look how good you know this stuff now. That was one night of taking it seriously. Take it seriously from the beginning, then you don't dig yourself into a hole that you need to get out of. Does that make sense? Because you were lost, you had no idea, this is so impossible. Yeah, because you weren't doing any work at home to try and fix it, you know what I mean? If you start getting lost, do not throw your hands up and give up. Get home, get serious, and then a lot of times things can click. Something that seemed impossible, once you get that base knowledge, you're back here and we're over here. You gotta fill yourself to there. Then once you're there, it's not a big deal. But you gotta get yourself to that spot, and the easiest way is stay on task every day. I give you like 15 minutes of homework. You do those actual 15 minutes of homework every night, this class is easy. You don't do it for 3-4 nights. Now you've got all that backlog. Now when we talk about things in class, you're not processing with everybody else, so you're losing all that practice also.
Ryan being absent came a little off like that.
Okay? I don't know what that meant. All right. So now I need to collect those back. Would you please pass those forward? Or wait, I didn't want to pass them forward because people may not want their test seen. I'll come and collect them actually. Turn it to the front, please.
not too long.
I'm gonna steal from all of my boys
Christian.
right now.
Christian.
Super funny this time, I must say that. He's like actually a monkey even.
I like that.
Christian,
Yeah.
Christian. Christian. Yeah, cause they live in the east side.
Hopefully you can tell how you did based on what we went over. If you want to come after school, I can get your seat. Christian, stay in your seat, and if you get out of your seat, you stay on the back side. Warning Christian, next one is step.
Oh no.
All right, next. One of the other things that I realized I wanted to do is I wanted to prepare you more for the test, so you know exactly what to study, okay? So, on the map, I had mistakenly told you you needed to know capitals. You do not need to know capitals. You do need to know the countries. That's what I was remembering, that you needed to know the geography, and I thought they had something on capitals on here, but not on this test. Numbers, same type patterns that we've been doing, you'll need to do. Time is gonna be like we just had here, but what do you think they're gonna put on there with it?
PM and AM.
AM and PM. What do you need to remember about AM and
De la
PM?
tarde, de la noche.
De la mañana, de la tarde, and
Oh, that
de
too,
la
that
noche.
too,
Are
that
you gonna take credit off if we forget
I
this
know,
stupid
man.
thing on
5 minutes.
Probably not, but the best way to make sure I don't take it off is remember to put it, okay?
Do we have to use manana?
You.
No, you have to use mañana. Dios is part of the Buenos Dias expression.
It won't work.
But it, yeah, it's not in the morning, it doesn't mean morning, it means good day.
Okay.
So you wouldn't, if you're talking about in the morning, you wouldn't say in the day.
That's right.
So
Okay,
why are they gonna pull up in the house?
quiet please.
Quiet.
Alright, know the expressions, how to respond to questions and, completing a statement. As you've seen on every quiz, know how to fill in a conversation. I actually think that, the test should be easier than the quizzes. But the problem is that the test has everything from the whole chapter, where the quizzes are focused on half chapters, right? So, looking at it objectively, I think that these exercises that you're gonna see on the test are easier than the ones we did here. You just gotta make sure you're prepared for all of chapter 1, okay? More of that. Understanding the cognates. Remember when we talked about cognates in the beginning of the chapter? Cognates are words. What are cognates?
Words that sound like other words in English.
Okay, you can recognize them. Cognates are words you can recognize. Be prepared, like on that first quiz, if you remember, where you had to read something and be able to pick out what it means based on cognates.
That was not a quiz, that was just a workbook.
Oh,
Okay, I thought there was an exercise on the quiz, but maybe you're right, maybe it's just a
what does
word.
compromiso mean?
Compromiso literally means with permission. It's like excuse me, but then based on the culture section, it's more used for when you are trying to physically excuse yourself than it is for like vocally excuse yourself. If you're vocally excusing yourself and generally use perdón, like in the culture here it asked about interrupting someone or whatever, use perdón. And then physically, if you're trying to get somewhere, con permiso is the more appropriate. Okay? And then lastly, know culture, okay? Know the culture section, not just the last one, make sure you know both of them. Okay? Any questions? So what we will do tomorrow now is you will have that written test, and then I'm gonna hold off on the listening until Thursday, okay? I gave you those listening activities, that was your homework like over the weekend. I think you can still access those. It might be a good thing to do is to go back and re-access those and practice the listening. Because what the big problem is with the listening is everybody always feels like it goes so fast, right? The more practice you get, the easier it'll be. And if you want it to slow down, you do that practice, and then you also study your vocabulary really well. When people feel like the language is going fast, what it really is that they don't know their vocabulary. If they say buenos dias, and you go, good morning, good day, and then they keep going on the conversation, you're right with the conversation. If they say buenos dias, and you go, buenos dias.
Good morning.
Buenos dias. Oh, it's good morning. Now they've said 4 other things in the time that it took you to understand that, right? So you're interpreting it that they're going really fast, when in fact it's that you don't know your vocabulary well, so then you're going slow, and it just moves past you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So with the listening section, to be the most prepared, you probably want to do some of those exercises that I had given you, and re-listen to them to try and make sure that you have the feel for it, and then make sure you study the vocabulary really strongly. Yes?
Are you gonna put them in as 2 different grades, or are you gonna put them
I think I'm gonna put them in as 1 grade.
in?
I haven't decided exactly. Again, this is the first time I'm using this book. And that's why I wanted to push back, because I was originally gonna do all this together. And then after yesterday, where things were moving a little slower, and I didn't get through things, I was really worried. I'd give you the whole test, and we wouldn't be able to get through it. Then people have seen the whole test, and then ruin, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was part of why I put this off, is to try and just make sure that we take it slow the first chapter at least. Then we'll get the hang of it. Yeah?
Are we gonna do like we do the normal listening activities? You play it on the board and then we should write it down, or are we gonna have like
Oh, yeah.
do it on our?
No, it's gonna have a sheet.
Okay.
It'll be a sheet, an answer sheet. It's gonna be just like those. You know what I mean? It's gonna be just like
Play
those.
this out.
I'm
Okay.
gonna play the sound, and you'll be looking right on the sheet. So some of that confusion that you felt when we did it in class, you'll feel less of that, because you'll have it right in front of you. You'll know that there are 6 problems. They may have an example there. So in that way, it should be easier to understand, but it always tends to be the toughest thing for students. So I'm just trying to give you a little bit more time, encourage you to practice a little more, and make sure that you're as prepared as possible for it.
Chris, we don't need to know the capitals, right?
You do not need to know the capitals. I was wrong. Sorry.
Wait, Mr. Case,
Yeah,
should I end it?
just don't touch it. Leave it, please.
Are you gonna read the listening activity?
Hey, Dad.
In general, I
said
don't.
you're not going for her.
I don't know, maybe on the first one, we'll see. But that's another reason why I want it on its own day, so that I don't feel rushed through it.
Don't get me wrong. You're right now.
Oh, extremely.
Like, my man,
Hey, have a good day, adios. Written test tomorrow, listening test Thursday.
Have you?
What?
Have you?
This is my first year here and I live in Alabama. This is not my people at all.